Get locked in to the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Interact with the show by hitting the guys up on the Rod Polston, Oklahoma tax resolution line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Air Comfort Solutions text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
The original intro, it must be the OG show today. Yeah, got a little interesting at one part in there. Yeah, you got to look for playing that one, buddy. You got to look for playing that one. But hey, we're kicking it back old school today, the way this show originated. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, we got you for the next hour with a whole lot of OU recruiting and a whole lot of OU transfer portal talk. Grayson is out calling a high school game today, but he will be back tomorrow. And you and I haven't done this show on a daily basis for, 4 or 5 months? I guess it was late December when I saw myself to just 3 to 6. So if everyone wants to blame me that's freaking out, that's fine, because I came up with this in some pre-show prep today. I knew it'd been a while since OU had gotten a commit in the 2026 class. 93 days since OU got its last commit in the 2026 class. If my math is correct, it's probably not. But, dude, there has been one commit in the 2026 class since I split from the show. So if people want to blame anybody, I guess blame me.
And that commit, as many will point out, is only kind of sort of a commit.
Right,
that feels like a very soft commitment right now, one that may or may not hold. If you're concerned about the state of Oklahoma recruiting, we invite you to interact throughout the show on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line and the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439, as so many of you do on a regular basis. But yeah, Tyler, second longest drought of the BV era thus far. The longest drought was not that long ago, actually. It was Michael Fasusi on August 21st of last year to Jet New on whatever that was, December 2nd, 3rd, which that went by pretty quickly because we were all watching OU football every Saturday.
Sure.
Right? Like, we had something to divert our attention from what was happening on the recruiting trail. Generally speaking, during the season, recruiting is secondary to football anyway. But in the off-season, recruiting is something that everybody is hyper-focused on. It's what's going on. It's what's always going on. And I can't imagine it helps matters when you're sitting there at 4 commits. And old Muleshoe just got a 5-star today to put his class at 25 commits.
25 commits, the number one class right now. So that'll be a fun over-under. How many decommits does he have from now until the first signing day? Already a class of 25. But, okay, we're trained under the Brent Venables era to know that the months of June, July, really the summer months is when you're going to see a bulk of the commits. That's just how it works. Now, it is also fair to point out that OU had more than 4 commits in last year's class at this time. So really just the general overall question today is, should we panic? Should we freak out? Should we be concerned whatsoever that OU has 4 commits? And kind of like you said, one decision on a quarterback could lead you in a spot to where maybe you only have 2 commits that you could expect on signing day.
And the quarterback situation, man, that could have some major influence on how the rest of this recruiting cycle unfolds for Oklahoma. But I will say this, for the most part across the board, the Sooners have put themselves in a pretty good position to not get hung out to dry by a couple key decisions that may or may not go their way. I look at the example, for instance, of what Nate Dreiling is doing with the linebacker room, man. June 6th through 8th, I think the count is 7 linebackers now that are going to be at OU for official visits that week. So, Nate Dreiling's going to be a very busy man June 6th through the 8th. So don't hit his line that weekend. But also, man, whereas in years past, Oklahoma would go into official visit season with maybe, you have a position like that where you're going to take 2 or 3, maybe you go into OV season with 4 or 5 guys that you're hyper-focused on. No, it's a much broader pool at that position and at multiple positions across the board right now for Oklahoma. They're casting a pretty broad net on the offensive line. They're casting a pretty broad net on the defensive line. essentially giving themselves as many chances as possible to strike gold and pick up commitments during OV season.
I don't think someone would be wrong for just saying, like, well, this is kind of interesting that they're just at 4 commits right now. And I think the biggest question right now kind of looming over this class is what is going to happen at the quarterback situation. So I wouldn't fault anyone for saying, like, okay, I'm at least interested. I'm, like in the course, over the course of May, do they get a couple of more commits or not? I would just say I wouldn't panic, and I'm not going to panic if I need to until the summer, like, really hits and really settles in. Like, if they're still not doing anything, that's maybe the point where you start to panic a little bit. But it's been 93 days since they've gotten a commitment, and does it feel like something is super imminent with this 2026 class? I mean, at least to me, it doesn't feel like we've got a decision that's 7 to 10 days away or something like that.
No, it really doesn't feel that way. And to be honest, I can maybe think of, well, I know of one guy that's going to be deciding before official visit season. Everybody else is probably waiting until OV season at this point. Ryan Gilbert, the 4-star cornerback out of the state of Texas, announces on May 15th, 2 weeks from today. Outside of that, man, again, you don't really get the sense that any of these guys that are high on OU's board are going to be making decisions before OV season.
Okay, my guess says, are they waiting on July 1st revenue sharing? Are they waiting until that to really attack the class?
I mean, maybe, but I also just think this is kind of a natural byproduct of the way that Oklahoma recruits in conjunction with the NIL era and most, if not all, of these top-tier recruits getting agents or people to handle the monetary aspect of their negotiations. If you're going to put yourself in a position to make as much money as possible once you step foot on a collegiate campus, it is probably to your advantage to take a full slate of officials and hear the offers that'll be presented to you by 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 different schools.
Yeah, well, for those that don't know and aren't up to date, OU's got 4 commits right now. Rival says they have the number 46 class in the country. Daniel Odom, wide receiver. Will Conroy, offensive lineman. Jaden O'Neal, the quarterback. Ryder Mix, the tight end out of Frisco, Texas. So, got some work to do to up the ranking a little bit, but they also have a lot of big-time targets that are still on the board.
Yes.
Whether it's Deuce Gerald's, Jake Krull, am I saying that correctly?
Krell.
Jake Krell. We'll get to that recruitment as well because I think it's interesting. So, obviously the quarterback situation with Jaden O'Neal and Bo Bentley as well, but there's still a lot of big targets on the board that haven't announced just yet. And some of those decisions, including the 4-star edge out of IMG, who we just talked about, he's got a visit coming up here very soon, I believe. So OU's still in a good spot in terms of prospects that are on the board, and we'll see if they can close when it matters most. Gunny says Muleshoe has a class of 25 with 10 incoming decommits. That's where Gunny's setting the over/under.
Probably true. Probably true. What did he have last year? Like 14 decommits by the
He had
end
all
of the
those
cycle?
commits from Georgia, right? Wasn't that what it was?
That is correct, among other places, Texas and the like. I'll say this, and it kind of sucks to have to admit it, but some of the things that USC is doing actually point toward that institution having sustainable success if they can win in 2025. They're kind of in a similar situation to Oklahoma, right?
Sure.
Where they have a lot riding on what happens in the 2025 season because that program, in terms of wins and losses, has been on a continual downward trajectory since Lincoln Riley got there. First year was great. Second year was so-so. Third year was kind of alarming. And so they need to win first and foremost. But if they do win, if they can provide some proof of concept, if they can reestablish that, what they've done in the 2026 cycle, Tyler, is they've managed to build a fence around the state of California, which was one thing that Muleshoe didn't really seem too inclined to do for the first 3 years that he was there as head coach.
You think shipping out the shake weights was probably a good thing for the program as well? Yeah.
You know what? Yep, we discussed that yesterday, obviously, but there's no two ways about it. When you cut bait with your reality TV strength and conditioning coach, that signals that you take football and physical development of your players on your roster seriously.
4-star Evan from Blanchard, not concerned. We have to win this year. If we do, we'll get our recruiting juice back. If we don't, well, the whole dang house is clearing out anyways until we hire a new head ball coach. And, hey, this isn't the first time under the Brent Venables era where teams have negatively recruited Oklahoma saying, well, they haven't really done anything on the field, and look what's happened here, and he's going to be on the hot seat, all of that. But I can buy into the negative recruiting definitely potentially being a factor right now because every hot seat article that's out on any website is going to have Brent Venables at the top of that. And it's probably not just one school. It's probably every school recruiting against Oklahoma. Oh, you really want to commit there right now with so much uncertainty? Really? Like he's on one of the hottest seats in the country. I don't know if I'd do that. So OU's not the only school battling that, but there's certainly one that is probably battling that quite a bit out there. So Evan's right. Go win football games, go win big football games, and you get your recruiting juice back for sure.
0-star Joe on the text line says, who are the tight end targets so we know who Joe John is not going to land? Man, y'all are ruthless. Recruiting Boomer added, JJF got Ryder in this class, so now he can take the next 2 years off recruiting.
See, I listed one of 4 commits. One of them is a tight end, and all it did is just spark negative Joe John Finley text on the text line. Man, they don't miss on there, man. They don't waste an opportunity.
No,
that's
they
for
do
sure.
not.
405 texter says, how much of this could be Jim Naggie only being here a short amount of time to do his evaluations?
Well, and we've dug into that a little bit, but the philosophy and the calculus has changed a bit since Jim Naggie got to town. Even just as far as something as simple as who they like and who they don't like in the 2026 class. For instance, we brought up the example of Mason James, a guy that Oklahoma has been pushing less and less for since Jim Naggie and his staff got to Norman. So Naggie, with his extensive scouting background, he's going to have a say in who the staff prioritizes, who they go after, who they try to add to their roster. Obviously, the coaches are going to be the ones doing the recruiting, building the relationships, and they'll have input as far as those decisions are concerned. But Jim Naggie, with him being in his new luxury swivel chair up in the offices in the Switzer Center as Oklahoma's football general manager, that's going to change things as far as both recruiting and the portal. And I think from what you've seen so far, all we really have to go off to grade Jim Naggie on right now is what happened in the spring portal. That seems like a plus to me right now, Tyler.
Yeah. What kind of office do you think he gets? Like, Brent obviously has the best. It's the head coach's office, man. It's got the best view. It's probably the biggest office that's there. Do you think Jim Naggie has the second best office? Do you think he now has the best office? Or do you think the office is just a tiny room with just an old wheel-in TV so he can just watch film all day long? That's what I want out of my GM. Small office. Just a TV in there.
I like
to
think of Jim Naggie as Brent Venables' upstairs neighbor. He stomps on the ground too hard. Brent Venables feels it down in his office.
Yeah, he just found a 3-star linebacker that he likes all of a sudden. That's the hint to come upstairs. Julio says, who are the running back recruits so that we know who DeMarco will mismanage? God, you guys, man. Maybe we do need to get some commits in here and get some positivity back.
6 and 7 did a number on this fan base, man, which I get. It's not the norm around here.
Mr. Sports from Noble. Mr. Sports, no panic. We want quality, not quantity. They definitely took quality over quantity last year, it feels like, in the 25 class.
That they did.
Interested to see the overall class size in 26.
And your point has merit, Mr. Sports. You would rather have quality than quantity, but that doesn't mean you completely eschew quantity. You have to have quantity. You can't take 18 guys from the high school ranks every single year and then fill the gaps in the portal. There's not enough money at that point to do it and still get what you need because portal guys tend to be pricey.
4-star Shark with the text just for you. Jim Naggie's office is the same one as Billy Bean's assistant had in Oakland. So that one was tailor-made for you. It's your favorite movie of all time, at least favorite sports movie.
7x7 with no windows and a powerful computer. There you go.
Okay, one more text. 918, when do we stop caring what Muleshoe is doing? It's kind of like an old girlfriend who dumped you. Need to just move on, and then you will be hot again, and we can quit caring. Okay, caring to the point of jealousy. Like, it's not that. It's not that for me. I don't think it's that for everyone else. Honestly, it's just content. It's fun to make fun of him. And it is interesting from a college football standpoint what is going on at USC, a blue blood job and a job that people have thought for a long time is a top 5, top 3 gig. I find that element of it interesting, but mostly it's just content and, having fun making fun of the guy. That's basically what it is. The caring stage, I think we got our own issues around here to worry about. At least that's how I'm operating right now. Nate Dreiling, is he in Hawaii right now? We just mentioned him earlier.
He was in Hawaii a couple days ago.
Man.
He was in, what would that have been, Tuesday evening? Yeah, I think it was Talanoa Ely's dad that posted a photo of Nate Dreiling at practice, and I saw the tweet at like 11 p.m., and I was like, wait, what? And then I realized, it's only 6 o'clock in Hawaii. There you go.
Yeah, that time difference can get you, man. How about that gig? Not only does he go from Utah State to Arkansas State to Oklahoma in, less than 6 months' time, but he's just a few months on the job, and he already gets to go to Hawaii? That's a pretty sweet deal for old Nate Dreiling.
I can't recall the last time an Oklahoma assistant went to Hawaii.
I can't either, man.
To recruit.
Trying to find the next great linebacker out on the islands out there. I love that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Talanoa Ely's probably going to USC too.
Well, he'll decommit from Muleshoe.
There you go.
It'll be fine. He'll sign with with OU on signing day. All right, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. All right, let's just go ahead and talk about the biggest story of OU football recruiting when we get back. OU has a new quarterback offer out, not in 2026. But it is interesting what's going on in 2026 at linebacker. We'll get to the bottom of it coming up next right here on The Ref.
Dustin Voracek here. Do you eat, sleep, and breathe football? KREF is the only place for the most comprehensive daily analysis of Sooner and college football. We are the football experts. We're the home of Sooner fans. Download the KREF app and listen from anywhere.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
The Ref is the home of Sooner fans and is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Whoa. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swinging.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game. All year. The Ref has you covered.
Catch Sooner Baseball host the Ole Miss Rebels this Friday at 6:30, Saturday at 4, and Sunday at 2 on the Ref and the KREF app.
For decades, Moore Norman Tech has been training skilled and dedicated individuals, giving clear career paths to hundreds of graduates a year. These passionate individuals are the heartbeat of the Oklahoma workforce, serving thousands of companies that fuel this state's economy. Individuals like you. Here's to the next generation of entrepreneurs, craftsmen, and go-getters who will shape the future of this state. Oklahoma is powered by Career Tech.
Looking for a fun and adventurous way to spend the summer? Join the Sooner Theater for an unforgettable summer camp experience. The Sooner Theater has 2-week, half-day sessions for students entering kindergarten through 6th grade. Whether your child loves acting, dancing, singing, or magic, these camps have something for everyone. With sessions in June and July, your child can explore creativity, make new friends, and have a blast performing on stage for friends and family. Don't miss out. Sign up now for a summer full of fun and adventure through the performing arts. Visit SoonerTheater.org to learn more and register today.
Children are the greatest joy and our best hope for a better future. Friends, they are the future. But did you know that millions of kids are facing hunger every day? Food is not just food. It's energy, health, confidence, hope, and even love. Yes, love.
Thank you!
Learn more about how No Kid Hungry is helping end child hunger in America at helpnokidhungry.org.
Hey, life doesn't stop when cancer starts. After diagnosis, treatment is vital. But for some, just getting there, to appointments, chemo, or radiation, is a major challenge. you can change that. Volunteer to give rides with the American Cancer Society Road to Recovery program. Driving for a few hours of your day can make a life-saving difference for someone with cancer. Visit cancer.org/drive to learn more.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75 years, the MDA community has pushed the science,
shifted the narrative,
and established the field of neuromuscular medicine.
And until that day, when this is all a thing of the past,
you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Locked in with McComas and Thune today. Live on the ref for the home of Sooner fans. Grayson back tomorrow. He's calling a high school game today. And we do have a poll question up on our YouTube page. KREF Sports, go subscribe to our channel. Like the video today, please. And comment. Get in on the fun as well. How are we feeling about the 2026 class? We are 8 votes in currently. 62% say good. In Jim Naggie, we trust. 25% says fine. Just want more commits. 12% in all caps. I am unwell. Which would you vote for right now? Your feelings on the 26 class. Good. In Jim Naggie, we trust. Fine. Just want more commits. Or are you unwell with how things are going?
I would say fine. I'm not to the point where I'm letting myself get too optimistic nor too pessimistic about the future. Because, again, there are plenty of moving parts in the organization right now as far as evaluating and reevaluating the talent that Oklahoma's been pursuing for some time, tossing out new offers, reprioritizing positions of need in particular. And so, to me, I'm not going to get too high or too low on Oklahoma's recruiting efforts until we see things travel a bit further down the chronological horizon in the 2026 recruiting cycle. Ask me again after OV season, and maybe my answer changes, but right now I'm waiting until OV season.
Robert on the YouTube chat says, the transition between how the staff was recruiting before and now you have a front office, a.k.a. GM, it will take time to adjust to. And you said kind of reprioritize targets or, just kind of reevaluate your recruiting class. And I don't know if this is kind of a direct comparison or not, but obviously OU's got a situation on their hands right now at quarterback. Jaden O'Neal is still committed, but he's taking other visits. Bo Bentley's going to visit on June 13th. He's going to visit Georgia on June 6th, LSU on June 20th. Here's what I think. I don't think that this is, a take that's in the minority. I don't think Jaden O'Neal is going to end up in this class. I think OU would prefer to have Bo Bentley. That's what it at least feels like to me, not following this anymore on a daily basis. What is OU's message currently to Jaden O'Neal, who's still committed? He's taking other visits.
Yeah.
They know that they have offered another quarterback, and he's visiting in June. So what are you telling him to keep him committed? I mean, it's just a very, I wouldn't say odd, it's a very interesting situation what's going on there.
Yeah, and ultimately you can't control Jaden O'Neal's perception of the situation, right? All you can do is communicate to him, and OU has communicated to him, that you are still wanted at the University of Oklahoma. We still want you here. We still see you as a valued member of our recruiting class. We feel the need, with where we're at roster-wise, to take 2 quarterbacks such that we have enough depth to get through the season comfortably, get through the next couple of seasons comfortably, and not have to worry about overhauling our quarterback room in the portal, because you've seen that happen on several occasions in the last few. I mean, think about going into the 2022 season when Brent Venables got to town. All 3 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster at that point had not been on the roster the previous year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a similar dynamic once you get to fall camp in 2025. I think Oklahoma may look for a portal replacement for Cole Gonzalez, who left for Pitt last week. But when fall camp rolls around in 2025, Michael Hawkins is going to be the only member of that quarterback room that was on the roster a season ago. So when there is so much turnover and you can't necessarily bank on anybody being around for longer than 1 year at a time in the current landscape of college football, you cannot proceed. And I know this is how Oklahoma feels, and it's a completely intelligent, completely reasonable way to look at your quarterback depth. At the most important position on the field, you've got to make sure that the depth is always where you need it to be or beyond. Oklahoma feels like they have to have 2 high school quarterbacks in the 2026 cycle in order to get there.
What you don't want is to, really pursue Bo Bentley. He picks LSU or Georgia, and Jaden O'Neal says, well, I'll go to Florida State, Auburn, or wherever. Is OU in danger of being in that situation where you're scrambling late in this class to try to find a high school quarterback?
I'll be honest, I don't think you're ever truly scrambling at the University of Oklahoma. Even when the Sooners had 48 hours to figure it out before National Signing Day after Ben Arbuckle took the job, they flipped Jet New like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
It took no time at all to make that happen. He didn't even feel the need to visit. So when you have a brand like Oklahoma does, I don't think you're ever in a situation where you feel like you have to reach to take a quarterback. You're always going to have options out there, plausible options that are to your satisfaction.
Well, I mentioned the OV dates coming up, but that's been released. Bo Bentley's got essentially a top 3 right now, LSU, OU, Georgia. Georgia will get the first OV on June 6th. OU will get the second on June 13th. LSU on June 20th. Is this OU and LSU? Depends if Georgia gets a big quarterback commit elsewhere. Like, where does OU really fit in the conversation? I mean, they're in the conversation,
yes,
clearly, but where do they kind of stack up right now?
I don't think Bo Bentley goes to Georgia.
It seems like it's the odd team out at this point, yeah.
Feels like this is an OU-LSU battle. So, which do you prefer? This is not a rhetorical question. This is a genuine question. If it's just you and another school, would you rather have the first visit or the last visit? Because LSU is going to get the last visit.
I would rather have the last visit.
I think a lot of people would
I think in the portal, I'd rather have the first visit, and I think and here's kind of a way to add on to that. That's what I would prefer. What would the staff prefer? And I think of what we know, the staff prefers having, and I'm sure most staffs probably prefer having the last visit, I would guess. Maybe not all of them, but a majority of them might. We want the last impression.
What I imagine is going to happen, Tyler, is that Oklahoma is going to make every effort to get Bo Bentley committed before he leaves campus on June 15th to wrap up his official visit. Because if things are still hanging in the balance the following week, that's where things start to get really awkward. Jaden O'Neal is taking his Florida State official visit midweek that week before taking his Oklahoma official visit the following weekend at the Champ U Barbecue. So, if you have to welcome Jaden O'Neal to town and basically continue to recruit him, because, yeah, he's committed now, but you're still actively recruiting that guy. Let's not get it twisted.
Sure you are.
If you have to have all of those conversations while Bo Bentley's commitment status is still hanging in the balance, then, man, it's going to start to get uncomfortable. The easiest solution, I think that the outcome that Oklahoma would like to have, for better or worse, is that they just get an answer from Bo Bentley while he's on campus, whether that is a yes or a no. Because if he commits, okay, in all likelihood, that means Jaden O'Neal's on his way out. He probably, visits Florida State. Maybe he commits there. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he goes to a place like Auburn or somewhere. But, at that point, you're like, okay, we got our guy in Bo Bentley. Whatever happens with Jaden O'Neal, we have our guy. We have Ben Arbuckle's guy that he watched the tape on all the quarterbacks in the 2026 class and decided this was the guy that he wanted to go after. I mean, this is the only quarterback in the 26 class that Arbuckle himself has offered at Oklahoma. And so if you get him, great. You can kind of move along, because I think it's very easy to tell right now that if Bo Bentley winds up in the class, Jaden O'Neal is out.
Yep.
Not by OU's choice, but by his own. But if Bo Bentley says, you know what? I think I'd rather go to LSU, then you can sincerely sit down at that table with Jaden O'Neal the following weekend and say, you are our guy. We're no longer in pursuit of Bo. He's an LSU Tiger. Let's do this. We're locked in.
Yeah, well, I do agree that OU may, hey, man, we love you, but it's kind of middle of June right now. Here's our situation. We need an answer for you. And that could work out really well for OU. There's a chance that, hey, man, we kind of need an answer one way or the other. Could work out for OU where, all right, we maybe pushed him for a decision, and maybe he was kind of there already, but now that we really pushed it, we don't have to wait until July or the middle of July for this thing to drag out even further. We get a decision, and it goes our way. There's obviously the chance that you push it, and he's not ready, and he's not ready to commit there. So, but I do agree that OU is going to need a decision here in the middle of June. That kind of feels like, I don't know if you want to say deadline day, but you can't go into July kind of in the same situation that you are right now. At least I don't think. But it almost feels in some ways that this could be kind of the table-setting decision of the class, because if Jaden O'Neal decommits, well, then you're probably going to lose a wide receiver commit out of California, and we know how valuable quarterback commits are to the entirety of the 2026 class. I don't even say it to necessarily mean make or break. Depending on which quarterback you like, it's make or break for this class. I don't think I'll go that far, but we know how big quarterback recruiting is for a class, and this is going to be a very, very big moment in 2026, what happens at quarterback.
Zero Star Joe says, so you're saying we may have to go find a QB due to both saying thanks but no thanks? I mean, is that possibility on the table? Absolutely. That could absolutely happen. Bo Bentley decides to go to LSU. Jaden O'Neal feels like Oklahoma did him dirty throughout the whole process, and the relationship is fractured beyond repair, and he's going to go play somewhere like Florida State or like Auburn that has demonstrated to him through words and actions that he is their guy. And then you go 0 for 2, and you're wandering the wilderness in June or July trying to figure out where you go from there at the quarterback position in the 2026 cycle. Yeah, I'm not going to act like that's not a possibility, because it is. It's a high-stakes game, a calculated gamble that the Oklahoma staff is making with the hope that you go at least 1 for 2. And I frankly do not think there's a world where you go 2 for 2. I think 1 for 2 is best case scenario.
Yep.
But Oklahoma feels confident they can go 1 for 2. I'll say this, though, Tyler. If you do wind up being up a creek in July because you did strike out on Bo Bentley and Jaden O'Neal, for one thing, there will be options in the 2026 class. And for another thing, the guy that Oklahoma's got a red eye on in the 2027 class is a big-time OU lean right now, and he is really freaking talented. Peyton Houston out of Shreveport.
Yeah, you've been out to see him a couple of times now, right? Like the Thursday of OU Texas last year, didn't you go out there? It was like a 76-74 crazy game or something like that?
Yes, he had 924 total yards and 10 touchdowns.
Jeez. But did they lose the game?
They did lose the game.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Don't ask me how.
I don't know how you feel after a game like that. You have all those yards and the team still loses. OU, by the way, 2028 quarterback offer today. They're getting after the quarterback offers right now.
Yeah, Ty Simpson's little brother.
Oh.
Graham Simpson.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Graham Simpson from the state of Tennessee is Ben Arbuckle's first offer at quarterback in the class of 2028. I'm going to be real interested to see if and when Oklahoma throws an early offer to Creed Barrett down at Washington. Because it feels like that's the guy within state lines in the 2028 class of quarterback right now. But, of course, you know that if you offer that guy, there's a very good chance that because of where he is, how he's grown up, the proximity to Norman, there's a very good chance he jumps on board right away. He's like, yeah, I want to commit. Yeah. And so with any kid that's in that close proximity to your university, to your campus, to your program, you have to have 100% certainty that if he wants to jump on board, this is the guy that we're comfortable taking.
How about Washington having all these D1 prospects or Power 4 prospects here recently?
I'm sorry, who?
Man? Washington.
There it is.
Washington. You had Coop Alexander. Of course, you had Nate Roberts. You've got Cooper Alexander's little brother.
Dude, Case is a stud.
He's good. I mean, you just mentioned it's like 4 in the past. There's probably more that we just haven't talked about, don't know of. place is like a factory down. I mean, it's always been a really good athletic program, going all the way back when I was in high school. Baseball, basketball program. Golly, what's up?
Man,
it's not
you're out of
3
practice
o'clock yet, and I'm just like,
you are out of practice.
Yikes. I got to get it back on it, man. Jeez. Washington program is on fire right now with big-time prospects, that's for sure. Let's just start landing some of those guys out in Washington.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be really nice. Proximity,
Proximity
works out for you. 405, if O'Neal decommits, will he stay at Mustang? That's from Kyle.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't at this point. His family is in Mustang, and so if he decommits, and I don't know what the timeline would be on that now. I would say probably in the next 5-6 weeks, if it happens. You're looking at less than 2 months in all likelihood until your senior year of high school starts. So you're going to relocate again? I mean, there's so much that comes attached to that occupationally and with regard to real estate. And moving your family halfway across the country is no small feat.
It's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. Blue Sooner says they'll bow it up for him at LSU. And Bo, of course, B-E-A-U-X.
Yeah.
They're going to do that, aren't they? They're going to have they're going to take him in the locker room. They're going to have a jersey waiting for him with his number. Remember when Joe Burrow's senior day, he had
the
Burrow on it? They're going to have Bo on the back of the jersey there. We really need Brian Kelly to do the creepy dance thing again. Really need that to happen with Bo Bentley down there. I don't know if Brian Kelly's done that since or he's learned his lesson, but that really may need to happen.
Good news is the OU staff has an inside man, Bauer Sharp.
Yes. Bauer Sharp is he's a double agent down there. He's an agent down there for Oklahoma. Hope it works out. All right, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Got some high-level recruits that we'll talk about in the 2026 class. Take a peek at the state of Oklahoma in 2026 and more. Coming up next right here on The Ref.
Join the movement. The Ref Army is growing. Don't miss a second of the Sooner coverage you want with the KREF app, the #1 source for Sooner fans.
What's up, Ref Army? It's Dusty Dvorak. Do you eat, sleep, and breathe football? KREF is the only place for the most comprehensive daily analysis of Sooner and college football. Catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday during the 10 a.m. hour of The Plank Show as I cut it up with Plank and Josh about everything in the world of Sooner and college football. That's every Tuesday and Wednesday on The Plank Show, and there's only one place to hear it. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Download the KREF app today to listen from anywhere.
That twinge in your knee isn't going to wait until Monday, and neither do we. At Orthostat, we've expanded, so you get better hours, better facilities, and the same great care. Open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Whether it's sprains, strains, fractures, or joint pain, from knuckles to knees and every joint in between, our same-day, affordable care gets you back to life faster. Visit OuchOrthostat.com to learn more.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
At Confidence Ford of Norman, we believe in living up to our name. Our commitment to confidence is in everything we do. Whether you're searching for the perfect vehicle from our extensive selection of new Ford models or pre-owned cars, our dedicated team will help you every step of the way. Because with us, you're family. We're conveniently located at 825 North Interstate Drive. Confidence Ford of Norman, a Cavender Auto family dealership where confidence is Cavender.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south of Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as Yukon, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Dorsey Jones Buick GMC in El Reno, bringing you this hour of Locked In with McComas and Thune. Grayson Singleton back tomorrow, out calling a high school game today. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, established in 2020, but many of their employees have been there for more than 20 years. They pride themselves on having the best service technicians and friendly service advisors that put your needs first. They also have half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Go check them out in El Reno, Dorsey Jones Buick GMC. Jake Krell. Is this how you say his last name?
Correct.
Jake Krell. He is a 4-star edge, 6'3", 230, out of IMG Academy in the state of Florida. Rivals has him ranked as the number 27 player overall nationally in the 2026 class, in the number 2 edge in the 2026 class. There was a short little blurb on Rivals of him. It says the high 4-star edge rusher from IMG loved his visit to Texas over the weekend. And if Krell ends up in Austin, one of the big reasons was because he liked assistant coaches such as Pete Kwiatkowski. Krell left Texas feeling like he was a top priority and a great fit for its scheme. Oklahoma, Miami, and many others remain heavily in the mix. He's setting official visits on Thursday. So I don't know if that's come out already, but I'm going to guess OU is going to get an OV here.
Yes, at the Champion Barbecue as well.
Yeah.
I like where OU sits. I don't think it's over, and I wouldn't necessarily toss in a future cast at this juncture for Jake Krell, but I do think Oklahoma is the leader in the clubhouse going into OV season for him. He's a fun football player, man. An absolute psycho in a good way.
He seems like he would fit in really well with this staff, and I could see him easily buying into what this staff is selling.
And particularly Miguel Chavis, right? Like,
right,
you know Miguel Chavis' personality. If you've picked up on Jake Krell's personality, it's very clear why they mesh the way that they do.
And in the conversation in the first segment of should you panic, should you freak out, should you stay calm with 4 commits in the 2026 class, well, the point was, you know, it's not like they're losing a whole lot of players off their board. Like, that really hasn't happened over the course of the past month. There's not a lot of misses. There's a lot of really good players that not only are on their recruiting board that OU's in good shape with, and you honestly kind of start with Jake Krell, really, when you have that conversation. I mean, he's a top 30 player nationally. If you're able to get him, I mean, he could end up being potentially the highest-ranked player that you get in this 26 class.
He very well could be. I mean, this is a guy that, depending on what happens his senior year, because he plays at IMG Academy, right? So he's going to be playing a national schedule, an elite schedule. If he produces his senior year, And he can go above and beyond what he did as a sophomore, as a junior. If he can level up his game, if it's evident that he has taken every opportunity that he's had this offseason at camps and otherwise to better his game, and I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as a breakout senior season, because can you really break out when you're already a top 30 player in the country? But this is a guy that's going to be in the conversation for 5-star status, as he very well should be.
Yeah, so keep your eye on Jake Krell if you haven't already. I know a lot of you that really follow it closely already know his name. Look at him as a top priority as well. Here's another name to know for 2026. Rivals had something on him today. Nico Jandro. Jandro, is that how we say the last name? Now, here's what I found interesting about Nico Jandro, 3-star, which you guys know what to do. The 3-star you jokes, I'm sure, are going to pile on right now. 3-star safety, 6'1", 185 out of Chandler, Arizona. USC, Oklahoma, and Washington are making a big move for Jandro, and he's got a twin brother. So they want both he and the twin brother in the class.
That is correct.
How many sets of twins have we had in OU? We've had brothers.
Yeah, we've had brothers. We've had quite a few brothers. When was the last time we had twins? Have we had twins?
So there was, I remember Ben Panner, Adam Panner were on the early Bob Stoops teams. I think one of them was a deep snapper. And I think they were both from Stillwell, Oklahoma, I want to say, somewhere in Oklahoma. But I can't remember if they were twins or not, or just like a year or two apart. But
I mean, obviously you have the Stoops twins, but Isaac never actually played, so I don't know if you really count them outside of them. I don't know. None that come to mind for me. But, yeah, Bo and Nico Jandro, both high-priority guys for Oklahoma. Nate Dreiling and Brandon Hall were out there in Arizona to visit with them and their folks on Monday evening. I think Oklahoma leads the race for those two.
Teddy said those two guys that I just mentioned were not twins, by the way. I remember they were both on the team at the same time.
Oh, really?
So, someone else said 14 sets of twins, says a texter from Texas.
I tell you.
14 sets of twins? Can you name all 14 sets of twins? Someone else said, I don't think Washington has an R in it. Stick around long enough on this show, and trust me, it will.
Y'all know the only thing this staff likes more than one 3-star. 2 3-star.
Ben Panner Deuce snapping over Ferguson's head in the Orange Bowl. Hey, we didn't have to bring that up. The reason that Florida State got 2 points in the national championship game. So, okay, we got 14 sets of twins, apparently, according to somebody on the text line. I guess we got to get to the bottom of that one. The 2025 class in the state of Oklahoma, and we talked about it for a long time leading up to it, it's one of the best in recent memory, just in terms of the amount of blue-chip talent that was in the state last year. And I'm not saying 2026 is, oh, God, everyone in state in 2026 isn't any good. It doesn't feel like it's as deep of a class as it was last year, or maybe even what it will be in 2027. It's not looking like OU is going to be as active with scholarship takes in state in 2026 that they are in 2025. Would that be a pretty fair assumption to this point?
Yeah, it's something that Grayson and I have touched on each of the last 2 weeks on this show, the reality that when you look at the landscape of OU targets across the state, and this is a deep class in the state of Oklahoma in 2026. It's deep with FBS caliber guys. I think right now we have north of 40 players in the state of Oklahoma with at least one FBS offer. But as far as true OU caliber guys, you're looking at a pretty exclusive list. I'd say no more than 10. 7 guys within state lines right now hold Oklahoma offers. And that includes Jaden O'Neal, do you count him? Do you not?
Whatever.
Some of those guys have already committed other places, right? Caden Jones committed to Oklahoma State. Dejon Ackerson just recently committed to Kansas State. And so, there's a very real chance when you look at Oklahoma's in-state targets in the 26 cycle, they could wind up with only 2, maybe only 1, potentially 0.
There's a chance it could be 0,
They could get shut out of their own state. It's like Braden Presley and Taj Overton. Those feel like Oklahoma's only 2 chances to land somebody from within state lines.
Now, people will be upset by that. What's the deal? We're not prioritizing Oklahoma kids. We're getting beat out by Oklahoma State. You got to understand that some of these some of these are an Oklahoma decision, why they may not ultimately get a guy, or why a guy is currently committed elsewhere. Like Oklahoma really pursued a lot of players in the state last year. They did well, and I mean, you mentioned the amount of guys that have an OU offer, but it just doesn't seem like they're pressing as hard for this year in-state. It doesn't mean that they're totally going to abandon Oklahoma kids moving forward. I think the exact opposite. There's really good players in-state. They'll go get them. It just doesn't feel like 25 or even what 27 is going to be.
Again, consider this, to that point. Where does Jim Naggie come from? He comes from the NFL. What do they do in the NFL? What do they spend 11 months out of the year doing in the NFL, in Jim Naggie's old line of work? Scouring tape at multiple levels all across the country to try and find players that are capable of playing NFL caliber football. And so Jim Naggie probably does not show up to Oklahoma under the impression that the Sooners are just going to recruit their own backyard and that's where they're going to build their nucleus. Even though that's what they've done historically, Jim Naggie's mindset is probably, okay, we're going to look all over the place.
Yeah.
We're going to turn over every stone. We're going to find talented football players, and it doesn't matter where they're from. We're going to get them on campus at the University of Oklahoma. We're going to convince them to come here. Miguel Chavis was in Pennsylvania yesterday. The Sooners' most recent couple of offers in the 2026 class were to a pair of edge rushers from the state of Pennsylvania, Reston Lehman and Ashton Blatt. And if you flip on the tape, they're really impressive players that, historically speaking, Oklahoma probably wouldn't have pursued because they're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But the times, they are a-changin'.
RGK86 on YouTube says, Stoops twins, hello! I think that's the first set of twins that you mentioned.
It is. It's the only set of twins that I mentioned, actually.
405 says quarterback Trevor Knight and his brother.
Trevor Knight had a brother?
Connor Knight. He was on the team at the same time.
Oh, I never realized that.
Did not get to play as much as TK9 did, but yeah, he was there. Phil and Paul Tabor may have been twins, says Reform Sooner. Mark and Blanchard says in basketball, the Miners. Brad from Mustang says, could it be that there were many that decided to graduate early and to get ahead of potential NIL caps coming this year? Possibly. I think there's a lot of factors at play right now for Oklahoma. That could be a factor. I think Jim Naggie is a factor. A new offensive coordinator could be a factor here. But, again, I'll go back to it. They don't have 4 commits because, God, we had this guy and we lost out. We had this running back and, that we really prioritized and we lost out. We lost out on 3 different running backs. I'm not to say that they haven't lost out on anyone to this point, but it feels like their main targets, for the most part, are still on the board. They got a chance at.
They had one, clear-cut top target. As far as I'm aware, one clear-cut top target that has already come off the board, and that was 4-star interior offensive lineman Chance Barkley, who committed to Clemson, I think in late March, early April. Outside of that, man, everybody that OU is casting the line with, if you will, is still uncommitted.
Yeah, so they just don't panic yet. And this is the best gauge, I think, at the fan base that's out there on a daily basis. And I would say that we have not sensed any panic today whatsoever. So I'm proud of everyone. Everyone knows the drill by now. Yeah, it's May 1st. But, nobody's panicking out there about just 4 commits, number 46 class in the country right now. Frickin' Muleshoe's got the number 1 class with 25 commits. But I feel like he didn't have 25 commits last year, but he was right around the number 1 class a year ago, and that didn't exactly pan out the way that he planned. So it's early, man.
Good point. 405 listener brought up running back Jonathan Hatton, committed to Texas A&M. Yeah, that was a guy you really wanted that came off the board.
Jeff of Earth. That makes me laugh every single time. Jeff of Earth says Paris twins in women's basketball. Yeah, Ashley and Courtney Paris. Pretty awesome duo there. Critical position to shore up in the 2026 class. Where is it? Because we talked offensive line, offensive line, offensive line, offensive line in 2025. Where's the main position they got to get right in 26?
I would say probably edge, defensive end. I mean, the easy answer is tight end, right? You got Ryder Mix.
Hopefully it's not going to be kicker.
Yeah, well, I look at that edge group, and you're going to lose R. Mason Thomas, right? You're going to lose Marvin Jones at season's end. You got another younger crop coming up that you can get excited about with guys like Danny Okoye and Wyatt Gilmore and Taylor Wine, who had a really, really strong spring. But coming off a year where Oklahoma only landed 2 at the position in C.J. Nixon and Alex Shieldknight, it feels like they could use 3 outstanding edge prospects in this class if they can get them.
Done in the portal? All done? Still looking for a tight end? Still looking for another corner if one?
Keep an eye on quarterback.
I think Travis and I were talking about that yesterday. I think not that it changes the season if you get to that point, but you just, for peace of mind, you need another quarterback, man. Just another arm to throw. Need another quarterback after losing Cole Gonzalez.
Because it's not just like you have 3 scholarship quarterbacks right now. You have 3 quarterbacks total.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
All right, The Rush is coming up next. Keep it locked on The Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.